All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Cristina Yiguren, and I'm the coordinator of International Graduate Services and Support Center. I just want to remind you that we're recording this webinar so that you can review it later in a couple of days. This center is dedicated to assist you, our international graduates, as you seek employment and settle into Canadian life following graduation. International students from Mississauga, Toronto, Sarnia, and Ottawa have access to immigration sessions. A couple of weeks ago, we had an amazing event about the tier and knockout theories. You can actually find information on our YouTube channel and you can review it. It's really nice and it explains very well how you can find your knock and tier if you are pursuing your PR. We also have career advice services and webinars like today's and networking events with the purpose of connecting with you with your peers and also with other companies. There are so many reasons why you can take pride of being a Lambton College graduate, as I'm also proud of working here. One of the main reasons is because we're here to support you all the way, even after graduation, with the services I just explained to you, and also because Lambton College is one of the very few colleges in Canada that actually has a graduate center. So remember, you are the reason for this center, and we're here to support you. Today's webinar is going to be very interesting because we know that some of you are struggling to find a job. So we're going to learn how to craft an impactful resume and master your interview skills. Our distinguished guest will discuss the importance of analyzing the job posting, building an impactful resume, and we will also review all the sections of the resume evaluation checklist, what to do and what not to do, the cover letter tips. We will also know how to turn your interviews, your interview skills, and we will have a Q&A section. So please, you can write down all your questions, in the Q&A button. And if you want to share something additional, you can also go to the chat. So I'm very motivated and happy today because we have with us Juliana Aponte. Juliana is actually one of our former international graduates. Juliana has more than 10 years of combined experience in operations management, human resources process, financial management, and international auditing. She is the human resources and operation lead at Taking IT Global, a nonprofit organization dedicated to young actions and social innovation. As a Lambton College alumni and former international student, Juliana will provide a unique approach to resume preparation tailored to the needs of international students and international professional students like you, who are aspiring to gain valuable work experience in Canada while navigating the annual labor market in a new country. We understand the challenges you're going through, and this is why we're organizing these events for you. At the end, we will have a Q&A, we will have the Q&A section, and we will also have a survey for you. It's just a couple of questions that we really encourage you to answer so we can keep improving our events. So that is going to be it from my side at the moment. Juliana, I will like you to introduce yourself, and the floor is all yours. Thank you very much for participating.
Thank you, Christina. That was an amazing introduction. I'm so happy to be here with you. Like, Christina, let me know if you can see my screen already. Yeah, good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, as Christina mentioned, I'm also a Lambton College alumni, so I'm super thrilled to be here with you today because I know what you're living and I went through it. So I would like to give my 5 cents of advice for you guys. And now that I'm like in the market labor already and like working in a human resources area, I can give you some helpful tips. So first of all, I wanna ask you how you're feeling today on the dog scale. Like you can type the number in the chat and so I can see how you're doing today, how you're feeling. Like perhaps you're feeling like jumpy, like number one, or like you're tired and you want to go to bed. Like, oh, that's cool. 1, 4, that's awesome. 8, yeah, summer vibes, right? Okay, 2, oh, great. Okay. Okay, that's a silly one. Nice. Oh, the tree is like, I hope you don't get bored like the doggy over there. Yeah, long day, I know. but it's gonna be a good one. Like, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing how you're feeling. I love to have the doggy scale because it gives me input on how you're feeling, so that way I can tailor my presentation a little bit more. So I'm going to start like I know that like Christina already introduced me, but I'm going to do my intro really fast. I'm not going to get in too much detail. I'm Colombian. I'm also an international professional, like I'm internationally trained professional. I did my 2-year postgraduate certificate in business management and human resources at Lambton College in Toronto. I have several hats that I wear in my life. I'm a mom of 2 beautiful girls. I'm a wife as well. So I have like a third child there. I have a dog too. And now I'm a human resources and operations lead, as Christina mentioned. I also have a mixed experience between human resources, finance, and auditing, and some operations right now. And that's me. Um, you can find me on with my name on LinkedIn. If you want to connect, feel free to do so. So let's start. So the first thing that like I wanted to point out, like when we are working on our resume and cover letter, the first thing that you need to pay attention to is like the job posting, right? Like, so I always recommend taking your time to analyze the job posting. That's the first thing and the most important thing that you have to do before you start tailoring your resume. I know that we come from different countries where the practices are totally different. For example, I come from Colombia and we used to use the same resume for every single job application, but here you have to adapt it to the job posting to make it more interesting, right? Like, and to make it more valuable for the recruiter or the hiring manager. So when I say taking your time, like taking your time, it's you have to read the competencies that are required in the job posting, the skills required, and when you analyze those, and later I'm going to explain you the difference between competencies, skills, and qualifications, because somehow we have like a mix of things there. But like when we read that job posting, we will understand how our experience can fit that role, right? And how in the smallest activities that we did, like, and we were talking about like a minute ago about like when we come here, we usually don't go to I don't know, to jobs that are related to our fields of study. So we go to work at Walmart or we work at Home Depot or like we have different jobs. But even in those jobs, like there are transferable skills that we can analyze and we can put in our resumes that can help us achieve that impact and get that like a glorious interview that we're looking for, right? Like to give us that opportunity to show ourselves. So, and there's another thing that I recommend you. It's like using and looking for that unique relationship between your experience, your education, and the role that it's being advertised, right? It's key for you to have that input when you are like building your resume. So that's my first step, and that's what I recommend first. So then let's go into the details of building the resume. Obviously, please feel free. Let me check. I'm not seeing any questions yet, and I'm looking at the chat, so everything is good. Like if you have any questions of if I'm going too fast, please let me know. So let's go with the building an impactful resume. So I guess you already know tons of templates, and for sure you have a friend of a friend that sent you the perfect resume template, and they have different things, right? Like, and they depend on the stages of your professional development. Sometimes you need one template that will fit that you don't have enough work experience, that you just graduated. So maybe you can use this template, or perhaps you have some experience, so you can change it. But In conclusion, like the relevant factor in a resume, it's efficiently highlighting the connection between your experience and the job posting, regardless of the template, regardless of whether I have skills at the beginning or skills at the end, or if I start with my work experience or my education. The key point is to highlight in an obvious way how you are a good fit for the role and how your experience or your knowledge or your education will fit that role. So basically, like most of the templates that I know have these four components: have a professional profile or a professional goal, skills or qualifications highlights of somehow, of some sort, like you will see, your work experience, which is incredibly important, like you have to put it there, and your education. This order that I highlighted there, it's the way that I like to do resumes, and mostly the order that I frequently see in the in the resumes that I have received before when I'm doing recruitment processes. So I'm gonna go one by one, explaining you what you should include in each of these sections. And in this section, I'm going to take more time, and feel free to ask anything if you have any questions in regarding all these sections that I'm highlighting here. So let's start with the first one, like professional profile or professional goal. A professional profile, it's an overview of your professional experience. It's like you're doing an elevator pitch. I don't know if you know that concept. It's like you need to um, promote yourself in a condensed way, in a coherent way, that you show the person that is reading your resume what is your experience and how that experience relates to the job that I'm applying for. So we're going to go and check one example that we have for sure, and we're going to see all these connections that all these connections and all these tips that I'm mentioning. But like here, the relevant thing is highlighting your main areas of expertise, and obviously including the ones that are related to the job posting that, like, as I mentioned before, that you already studied and you already understand. So if I'm applying for a logistic coordinator role, which is the one that we're going to see later, we're going to add things about logistic and logistic procedures or knowledge around logistics, so that's what we need to do. The difference between professional profile and professional goal usually goes around when when you have professional experience, you already build your profile, right? Like, so you know the experience that you can include in there. But when you are just graduating and you don't have enough work experience, um, what you want to include is more a professional goal rather than a professional profile. So I think I just answered your questions, Hannah. Like if you're going, but it doesn't depend on the role that you're applying. I'm going to read the question: is which one will be best for an entry-level role, professional profile or professional goal? It's not about the role that you're applying. It's more about your experience and what you think you have right now. Because perhaps you're applying for an entry level role, like for example here when I came to Canada, like I had to apply to entry level roles because I had to get the experience to better I don't know, aspire to have different roles and higher roles, right? Like so, but I had professional experience from Colombia, so I went and I use professional profile in my resume because I had experience. But I had like some of my friends from Lambton College that they didn't have enough experience at the time that they were applying for jobs, so they went with the option of professional goal, which is a statement where you explain what is your professional objective. What do you expect from a role, or what do you expect from the job posting that you are applying for, right? Like, or what do you aspire for your professional years in the upcoming months or years, right? Like, so it's more about like stating your objective. What do you want? So I recommend, when you don't have enough experience, going with a professional goal, because it's what you can envision in what your future will be and what you're looking for. So that's what I will do. I think we answered the question. Okay, perfect. So those are the difference between those two options. I always recommend including the professional profile and or professional goal, depending on your situation, because it is an overview, a quick, fast overview of your resume, right? Like, it's an elevator pitch. It's like, because as we were discussing as well before we start the webinar, sometimes as a recruiter you have to go over like hundreds of resumes, and you're trying to like scanning them real fast. And later I'm going to explain you about the ATS like system and everything. But like, what we want to have, it's like an overview of those things in a condensed way, so I can get a hook in your resume and continue reading the rest. Okay, we have another question. What do what to do if someone is overqualified to apply for a job? Is that okay to take out some education to apply for certain jobs? Okay, I wouldn't take education out uh, because obviously shows that you know. What I will adjust, it's mainly your professional experience to make it fit the role that you're applying for. Let's say that you have an expanded experience over a process, and you know how it works from end to from start to finish, right? Like, but like it is not required for you when you're applying for a job knowing all those steps in between. So what I will do is just including the portion of the experience that it's relevant for the job. Like, you don't have to include if you oversight like people, or if you had supervision power or authority, because you're overqualified in a way. You don't have to include that. You just have to include the things that are relevant for the job posting. That will be my advice in that. But I wouldn't remove any education, because education is always a plus, right? It shows what you have. Okay, so with the qualifications and skills, qualification skills highlight. This is a small section uh, that refers to a list of the relevant things like that you have achieved, or the skills that you have that are applicable for the job posting. And this is really important in a way, and especially now with the ATS systems. This is the portion where, and I'm gonna get a little bit ahead of myself, like with the next slides. But like in this portion, since you're listing qualifications, the way that you list your qualifications, it's what is going to make the match with the system and the job posting. So in those qualifications, you need to be super clear on how, or super clear, no, like how to include all the skills that are posted in the role that you have. Let's say that they are asking for advanced knowledge in Microsoft Excel or spreadsheets, and you have it. So you have to include the words advanced Microsoft Excel skills, or if they require a specific certification, you have to include the name of the certification, exactly as it is in the role posting, right? Like in the job posting, sorry. Like, that's how it's going to be. So this list is important and it's relevant because it's where the ATS system will make the most matches like to your resume. Um, Again, connection is the important thing. Do not include things that are not relevant for the role description or for the job. Include what it's relevant for it. With the work experience, I guess I already explained a little bit of answering one of the questions, but like you have to highlight the relevant tasks that you did that like are valuable for the role that will make you a better fit. Oh, my voice is breaking. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's working fine.
Okay. Clear, like, can you hear me now? Yes? Okay, perfect.
Yes,
Let me know
good.
when it's not clear. Okay, thank you. Okay. So I saw one question I didn't see professional. Okay. I saw one question here. So professional profile and professional goal, what headline we should write in our resume? It will depend on which goal you will go. If you have the experience and you want to go as professional profile, you can include it as is, professional profile or professional goal, or you can call it objectives. That's another way of calling that professional goal section. So, okay, thank you, Melanie. So, if I was in the work experience, then with the education, like it is relevant for you to include all the degrees that you consider are valuable for the job, certificates, diplomas, include short courses and other continuing education that is relevant for the role. That's the key. Do not include other short studies or programs or courses that you did that are not relevant because they're gonna make your resume be cramped with a lot of information that is not relevant for the role. Okay. Um, does the ATS detect if we have used AI to make the resume or not? I don't think so. Like to be honest, I don't think it's gonna be able to recognize. Um, but perhaps the recruiter is. It's gonna be able to notice. But like, yeah, I guess my recommendation will be put your mind on it, put your mind on your resume. I know we have all these tools right now with AI that will help us at least make the first draft, but like you, like your eyes are relevant in this analysis because AI will not be able to make the connection between your experience and what the role is about, like your uniqueness, the things that you know that you can give to this role that nobody else can, right? Like so I don't think it will detect it, but like I guess it's matching, and the way that it works is matching keywords in your resume versus the keywords in the role description. That's how it works. Can you include both qualifications from both academic and work experience? Yes, for sure. Yes, that can be part of the qualification list. Yeah, because there are qualifications that you acquire, like, and that you have earned based on your experience, and it's relevant for the if it is relevant for the role, like for sure we can include them. When is the best to address employment gap? I guess, and that's I've noticed here that I have received some resumes where you see the gap, um, but I feel it's better to address it in the interview, not in the resume, because when you put like all all the work experiences chronologically, um, perhaps there are some work experiences that are not related to the role that you're applying to, so you shouldn't include them at all, right? So that's a way of tailoring your resume. And if you tailor your resume that way, perhaps the recruiter will see gaps, but that's not a negative thing. It's something that like he will like to discuss with you. But as long as the work experience that you're including it's related to the role, you are increasing your chances of getting a call to be interviewed, right? Like not because you have a gap, and to explain the gap you have to include all the work experience chronologically. No, that's not a good idea. It's better for you to pick, like review and pick which ones are the ones that should be there, regardless if they are not chronologically logic. If doesn't make sense, like if perhaps you had it like 2 years ago and now you have another one, so it's better just to include it there. And the gap can be addressed in the interview and you can explain the reasons why the gap exists or whatever. um, should I write the skills exactly as it is in the job advertisement? It's better for you to do it exactly, so you can have better chances with the ATS system. Like that's the recommendation, to do it exactly. If you have them, do not lie in your resume. Okay, so I think I'm taking a lot of time answering, so I'm gonna move and perhaps we can address the questions at the end, so I can move on. So I wanted to explain you difference, and this is real fast. I don't want to get into the detail, and I don't want to get too technical on this. But since you're going to be reviewing role descriptions a lot when you're applying, I want you to understand the difference between a qualification, a skill, and a competence. A qualification is something that you earn, usually through studying, earning a certification, or knowing about an industry or role, right? Like qualifications are years of experience, a degree level, a major, like, so achievements, accomplishments, things that you earned. A skill, it's a learned ability that you need to perform a given job, right? Those can be hard and soft skills. For example, you need to be bilingual, you need to be French, speak French and English to apply for that job. So that's a hard skill. A soft skill will be a non-technical skill that you require. It could be attention to detail or time management, right? So those are things that we call skills. And a competence, it's a mix, it's a hybrid thing. It's a person's knowledge and a behavior that lead them to be successful in a job. So if you notice, competence are a little bit more complex to define. So you see strategic planning, which is not a skill as time management. It's something that you develop based on your knowledge and a behavior that you learn through your years of experience, right? Like, so database decision making, problem solving, those are competencies. And I'm making the time to explain you this because when you go into an interview, and this is what we're going to see next, there are a lot of competency-based interviews which will ask for your ability or your capacity of strategic planning or leadership capabilities or database decision making or problem solving, right? Like, so I wanted you to understand these differences, and not for the interview purposes and for the tailoring your resume purpose, right? Like when you see a role description, you can identify which ones of your skills, qualifications, or competences are a fit for a role. Okay, so next, I see some questions. If you haven't submit your questions in the Q&A, I will encourage you to do it so we can review them when we're finished. Like, because we're running out of time and I don't wanna be running through the content. Okay. Okay, so let's go with the ATS explanation. So ATS is Applicant Tracking System. most of the big companies used ATS system. In my company, I haven't used ATS system. Like I am the ATS system. So, and if you notice, like most of the job postings are not coming from huge organizations, are coming from small to medium organizations that they don't have an ATS system, but like some of them they do, and some HR system already have ATS features already in their system. So you will frequently see these systems out there. So your resumes will be fighting against ATS systems. Okay. So what is the purpose of this ATS, this applicant tracking system? It's the purpose is to help the recruiter scanning through the resume for key skills and qualifications to find matches. Again, this is the important part, right? The important part is that you make the connection. That's why it's so relevant to take the time to analyze the role description or the job description in the posting and tailor your resume to that. So there are some things that I want you to, in the do's and don'ts list that Christina mentioned, there are some formatting aspects that you need to consider. There are resumes that are beautiful, like they look like Canva made amazing resumes with colors and columns and logos, and but turns out that those resumes are not ATS friendly, because the cleanest the resume is, the easiest is for the applicant tracking system to make matches. Okay, so first thing to do is, like, if you are applying with a resume that looks like, for example, that has columns in one side and information in the other one, so you can save space, you need to change template and use a simple font, nothing, no big spaces, no images, so the ATS system can help you instead of going against you, because it's hard for them when we have, for example, text boxes in the resume, like the ATS cannot do the matches. So that's the first recommendations, like avoiding those templates. Again, do not include relevant information in the header or footer as well. And use like an ATS friendly font. Arial, Verdana, Tahoma, or Calibri are good fonts that are easy for the ATS system to analyze. And this is another tricky one, like the standard round bullets. Do not use check marks or things like that, because those are the ones that like the ATS system will recognize. Okay, so I have, what time is it? Like I need to go. I have an example here so we can analyze and um, go about the analysis that I'm asking you to do before we move into the interview section. So I'm gonna give you like, let's say 30 seconds or 40 seconds to read the job posting that I have here. Um, and I can start like analyzing from a recruiter perspective what I see. But I would love for you to tell me in the chat, like once you read this, what do you think are the key skills that like they are requesting in this role, right? Like what are the key aspects that you see after reading the job posting? Okay, experience in logistic, booking shipments online, communication, good. Customer service skills, customer satisfaction, exactly. Data management. Good. MS 364. Excel, Word. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Like that's what I need you to start like doing. Like it's you can clearly see that there's an emphasis on customer satisfaction, right? Like from the first paragraph, we see that we require customer satisfaction, booking shipments online, negotiation skills, communication skills. It's key. I see it like the word communicate, like it's and communication. It's repetitive. 3 years experience required for entry level. How to combat that? Like uh, what do you mean? Like, can you explain yourself a little bit more, Kunal? I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name well, pronunciating your name well, like, but like we can analyze your question a little bit more. But like for the purpose of the example, like we identify key things, right? Like customer service skills and everything. So now let's go to a resume that we can see as an example. Let me move here to my second screen. I think I have the resume open here. I'm going to move it and let me know if you can see it. Christina, can you see it?
Yes, working
Yeah?
fine.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So this is the resume that we received. So someone volunteered to analyze the resume. Thank you for that, someone, to submit here. So if you notice, let's start with the checklist of the ATS system. Um, let's say it's good. It has a font that it's ATS friendly. Um, I see the education is up and the skills are down, which is not something that it's bad. Like, but like if I want to have an overview of your resume, I don't see it at a first glance. So okay, zooming out. Okay,
Yes,
sure.
please. Thanks.
Let me open here the whole thing. Can you see it now better?
It looks
Now it's
better.
too zoomed out.
Yeah, probably they cannot see the bottom part.
Can I see it? Can you see it now better? Or it's again,
A little bit more probably will work.
I don't know why it's going so fast. Okay, less. I'm gonna scroll up and down so we can see it in portions, okay? And see it better.
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah?
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So here we go to the education first. I see, and I understand why this person included the concentration in the education, because it is for the purpose of the role description. Global supply chain, it's important, for example, and some of the courses are important, but like sometimes the recruiter will not know what a concentration is, right? Like or will not have that knowledge. So having the education first will take the recruiter to analyze something that it will take more time to understand, and perhaps having the professional profile or professional goal at the beginning will help the recruiter like set an overview of your experience, right? Like and say, okay, this one, uh, this resume can, or this person, this candidate can help and can be a good fit for the role. So my recommendation will be included the professional goal. And perhaps if you run out of space because you want to make it fit in one page, like 1 to 2 pages, it's okay. When you go beyond the 3 pages, like it's only for like professionals that have a lot of experience. Um, but like usually we go between 1 or 2 pages. So if you run out of space, you can remove the concentration perhaps, and the information about the courses, like, and emphasize only the global supply chain and the things that are the aspect of your education that are related to the logistic part. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm receiving some notification there. So, anyways, I will include the professional profile in the work experience. I see that the work experience that it's included here, it's relevant for the role. For example, in the skills, I see that customer service is included. See, communication, it's included. Problem solving, leadership. Like, so we see that, for example, the ATS system will do match with customer service. Um, I see that the word achievement was repeated a lot in the role description. So perhaps something about managing shipments, for example, here, picked and packed orders for shipment, that will help the ATS system to like select your resume. But in terms of the way that it's phrased, I feel that it's appropriate. Um, it's appropriate based on the description that you have. Um, but I will change. I will prefer to have my professional goal at the beginning, my skills, so they know that I have what it takes to be in the role, and then I will go into the work experience. And the last thing that I will include is the education, right? Like, um, because it's like, this is what I have, these are my skills, this is my work experience that prove what I told you before of my skills and qualifications, and this is my education, right? Like, um, because uh, like usually a recruiter doesn't hire just based on education. When you're doing internships, like perhaps yes, it's one of a main factor there, but like when you're applying to regular jobs, it's not the only thing that we look for. And what we look the most is like work experience and the qualifications and skills. And when we have a specific requirements like systems or like Excel or spreadsheets, or there was a qualification there of a system, those are the ones that I want to see first, right? Um, so they know that like you can be a good fit. Okay. I think let's go real fast through the rest of the content, and I can answer your questions later. We do have like open 11 questions so far. I hope the attendees that are sending questions to the chat, like they can send it to the Q&A section too, so we don't miss them. Okay. So now I'm gonna go to the cover letter. So this is something that, like, I don't know if you're used to this, like, but in my country we didn't use the cover letter so much, right? Like, and this is something that takes some time and some adjustment to do, right? So I love the cover letter because it's the opportunity to promote. It's like an advertisement tool, you know? Like, and you can capture a recruiter attention by having a great cover letter that will drive them to go to your resume and later on like to call you for an interview. So it's like, it's the opportunity for you to have a narrative that that um, will show the recruiter or the hiring manager that you are a good fit for that role. So usually, obviously, cover letters, they don't go more than one page, and sometimes even just 4 paragraphs. So we have an open paragraph, which is like the one that captures your attention. So it's always good to start with an interesting and creative statement that appeals to the employer's needs. and demonstrates like your knowledge about the organization. This is key. Like the first paragraph is about them, not about you. It's like, why should I hire you? Like, because it's grabbing your attention and that's what you want to answer, right? Like it can be something related to the company's latest results, or how you want to contribute with those results, or how that that like their values or their goals, their mission or vision aligns to your experience or the way that you see life, you know. So those are the catchy things that like will help you get the recruited attention. Then there is a middle paragraph where you briefly highlight your education. If you're currently studying and you're looking for a job, like your current program, your relevant accomplishment, this is like the space to show your qualifications. Remember the difference between qualifications, and skills and competences. So this is the part where you show your qualifications. So for example, I have a bachelor's degree, a 5-year bachelor's degree in accounting and international finances, and I have a 2-year postgraduate certificate from Lambton College, or I have 10 years of combined experience in, you know, so this is the paragraph where you highlight your qualifications. So what you need to answer in that paragraph is, how are my qualifications relevant for this role? Then in the second middle paragraph, you briefly highlight your work experience, accomplishment, knowledge, skills, competencies, strengths that are applicable for the job, right? In this cover letter, your professional profile, developing a professional profile will help you a lot, because the way that you are condensing the information on your resume, it's something that you can use in your cover letter, because it's like a paragraph where you highlight the relevant things that apply for that job. So the question that you want to answer in this paragraph is how my work experience, my qualifications, my certifications are relevant to the role. And the last paragraph, it's a conclusion. Um, um, it's where you indicate what do you want to do next. So, or what do you expect for them to do next? So, I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I would like to request a call or an interview if you're available. Please don't hesitate to contact me. This is my phone number, and this is key, super important, like information about your email, phone number, how to contact you. That's the key part in the conclusion. It's like, thank you, and always thank the recruiter to about taking the time to review your information. Okay, so I'm gonna bring real quick. Give me a sec, because I think I didn't link the cover letter here. I'm sorry about that. I don't want to waste a lot of time, but I have it here in my drive. Real quick, I want to show you. I have a cover letter that I want to show you. Mine, like, and the one that I used to apply for one of the roles at the beginning. Well, I'm looking for it.
Please remember, if you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A section. I also gave you in our webinar chat some information about the center, so you can go and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We always upload our videos on YouTube and always post our events on LinkedIn and Instagram. So I really encourage you to follow us. And yeah, if you have questions, you can also send us an email. You got it there as well. I will keep posting this. Sorry for the interruption.
No, that's perfect. That wasn't an interruption. That was like a cool moment for me to look for the for the cover letter. So
Great.
I couldn't find it in my drive, but I'm gonna put it here so we can see it. I don't know if the tricky part with this one is that I cannot zoom at it. Like, let me see if I can zoom. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can, but I do have a big screen, so I'm not sure if you're watching from your laptops. Probably it's a bit small, but I believe
Yeah.
we can have an idea.
Yeah, I want you to take, like, I'm going to read it real quick. So if you, yes, it's visible. Little zoom in, please. Oh man. Okay, give me a second, see if I can download her here. And it wasn't opening. So, okay, perfect. That's fine. It worked. Um, I'm going to give you some time so you can read it. Like, I know your voices are better than mine in your mind, so you can give it a read and you can see how, for example, the first paragraph, what I'm talking about, it's like making it about the company and the knowledge that you have about the company will help you engage the reader. In this case, I was applying for a summer internship. I remember that I was applying for, I had to do co-op, so I was applying for co-op positions. I'm gonna scroll down. Okay.
Probably here we can talk a little bit about the length of the letter as well, which sometimes is kind of tricky. We don't know how many paragraphs or
Oh, yeah, exactly. You can see, for example, there are not exactly 4 paragraphs here, there are more, but at least it's not longer than a page, right? Like, and it's definitely, it shouldn't be more than a page. For a cover letter, no. Like people, like the recruiter is not going to read a cover letter that it's bigger than like one page. So perhaps a resume, yeah, they do. They will do it like top 2 tops, but like the cover letter, it's like definitely your elevator pitch. That's the ultimate elevator pitch. Like that's where you use to grab people's attention. And and I gotta be honest, like when I got here and when I started doing recruitment, I wasn't so fan of cover letters. Um, but when I start having hiring committees with my boss and like the executive director of the organization, I noticed that they were paying more attention to the cover letter. So those are the things that as a professionally as a internationally professional training like in Colombia, like I had to unlearn, like I had to pay attention to this. So my recommendation is that yeah, cover letters are important, like in this context in this country. So you should take the time to build them, like the same amount of time that you use to building, even I think even more, because you have to put a lot of creativity and thought in the wording that you're going to use. Okay.
And Juliana, now that you're talking about cover letters, we have a
Yeah.
question that is related to this, and it
Okay.
says it is necessary to include cover letters even though it says it's optional.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. Yeah. If they are giving you the option, do it. Like it's better for you to do it because uh, the worst case scenario is that they don't read it, right? Like, but the best case scenario is that they do. So like it's better for you to have that option that miss that option, right? Like so do it. Like if it says it's optional, it's better for you to do it. And especially from my experience, from what I'm seeing, like cover letters are appreciated. And I can see that. Okay,
Perfect.
so perfect. Thank you, Christina. So let's go with tuning your interview skills. So now that we already like, let's say that we did an amazing job with your resume and your cover letter, and you nail it. You got your interview. So the the first thing, and I guess the only thing that I'm recommending here, is like take the time to prepare. Research about the organization, that's key. Like having a candidate that comes to an interview and you ask, because the first thing that I ask is, what do you know about our organization? And when I hear, oh no, I don't know, I haven't heard about like your organization until you called me, it's like, okay, it's fine. We're not a big organization. You don't have to know it, but like, did you research it? Right? So, first things first, like you need to do the research. You cannot go to an interview without knowing what the organization is about, websites, annual reports. The bigger the organization, the more information you will get, right? Press releases, industry. If it is a small organization, trying to find the person that it's the organization and trying to find people that works in that organization in LinkedIn, like that's another tool that it's really used here when I'm posting, when I have job posting or job openings, I receive um, a lot of messages in LinkedIn of people wanting me, like contacting me or talking to me. In some cases, I can do it, like they have to follow the regular procedure, but I take the time to answer everyone. And obviously, if I see someone that it's like being resourceful, right? Like, and looking for me and looking things, that's always a plus. So there are a lot of information out there that you can find. It's good to research about your interviewer, as I'm mentioning. Like, it's good, like when I'm hiring someone, I see that my LinkedIn views are increasing because like people, it's like researching me and getting to know who I am before they interview with me. And prepare commonly asked questions, your motivators. What motivates you to apply for that role? Since you already did your research when you were applying and you adjust your resume to that role, you will know what are the key things that your experience could bring to the job, right? Like, and or to the organization. So those are the things that you need to have clear. And since you already know and study what are the qualifications, skills, and competencies required for that role, you will know and you will start preparing questions, like not questions, preparing answers to commonly questions about those skills, communication skills, attention to detail skills, for example, problem solving, like a competency. So you need to start bringing possible scenarios of the answers that you might get, like um, when you're having the interview. So preparation is key, especially us that we come from another country, and this is like the opportunity that we were looking for, and it's your opportunity to dazzle someone. Always be honest. When you don't know something, say it. Like, I don't know, but I can learn. And if, for example, in the job posting, you see that you lack certain skill, I will do my research on that skill, and I will say, in case somebody asks me about that, like, for example, there's a software that I'm not aware of. So I prepare and I will go and research that software, and I will say, no, I haven't used that, but I research and this software works like this, and like that. And it's similar to one that I used, or it's common to what. So, like, you have to look the way to find those connections and make it work for you, right? um Star responses, I know for sure that, like, and if you're in Lambda, you already heard about the star. And if you have co-op like programs, like, and we have a pretty good program to prepare us to go to interviews and everything. So star responses are the star methodology. It's a structured manner of responding to behavioral based interview questions, and works describing a specific situation, task, action, and the result of that situation you're describing. I guess this approach works for everything. I feel that like the more concrete you are with a question, the more are your chances to get in a second interview, right? Like and we will jump on my advices as a recruiter and a hiring manager. But definitely this is something that you need to work on and prepare as well. So I'm going to show you an example of what is a star response in an interview. Usually the interviewer or the recruiter is not going to tell you, okay, this question it's to assess your communication skills. No, you're not going to say that. So those are the trick things that I'm putting you here from my perspective that a recruiter will have on their side, right? Like we usually have like a guide. If we are like organized, we will have a guide of questions that we will follow based on the role description, because each role description has competency, skills, and qualifications that we need to test in the interviews, right? So usually we already have um, a script, so to speak, right? Like that we're gonna ask. So in this case, the skill that I wanna the skill and that I want to test or that I want to assess in the candidate is the communication skill. And the behavioral question will be, describe a time when you had to explain something complex to a colleague. What problems did you come across and how did you deal with them? So this is a behavioral question that it's asking you for an example of something that happened to you, right? So a star response, and I tried to build like the response showing the situation, but not getting too specifically into the technical details. But this is what we got. The situation is when I was working at XX as compensation and benefits lead, I had to explain the new compensation system to the finance manager. Clear. This is the situation. What was the task? I had to review all the terms of the compensation system with the finance manager, as this will affect how her team's salaries will be impacted in the upcoming months. What is the action? It was a complicated system involving a job evaluation analysis. So the action is I created a slide for every relevant criterion that changed and compared it to the previous system, including key stats to make things easier to understand. As a result, the finance manager found the slides to be a good resource for understanding the complexity of the change, especially the comparison with the previous model, which made the impacts clearer. The slides were used to train the managerial team. So if you see, this is a response that has everything to prove the recruiter that you know how to handle complex communications and that you know that you have good resources, that you use your resources like slides to make yourself clear and to understand the complexity of a situation. So you show that like you use slides, that you use statistics, that you created the best way for the financial manager to understand the changes. Okay, this is a this is a star response. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you that I have my kids here and that they sometimes they interrupt myself. Okay, tell her that I will be later. Okay. Okay, sorry guys. Like that's my other hat, mom hat. So that's the star response. So I think this is the last slide. There's two more slides, and we can go to the Q&A. I'm sorry that I took so long. Okay, so perspective from a hiring manager or recruiter. So what we're looking for is evidence, like evidence of core competencies and concrete examples of experience applicable to the role. That's what we're looking for, right? So do your best to show evidence of that. Like we are looking for efficient communication because we don't have a lot of time. Like we cannot like have 3-hour interviews, right? Like as much as we like, I cannot go get coffee with you, like it's a small amount of time because I have to interview a lot of people. So what we're looking for is clear communication based on examples and conversation that reflects honesty. That's the first thing. We're not looking for speeches, and that's key. Like sometimes we have the tendency to fall into the things that I will do and how I will do things if I have this, or if I have like all these hypothetical scenarios that like we have in our minds. But like no, we have to base our interviews in our own experiences. That's why the preparation is key, because if you don't prepare an interview, it's hard for you to bring those examples to the table, because it's hard for you to start like thinking although there are times where you can stop and think. You don't have to answer immediately, you know? And sometimes there are complex questions that you need the time to think. As much as prepare you are, like there are times that you can stop and say, "Can you give me a minute? Let me think about this." And but the best way to reduce that time is to prepare yourself. And that's what I'm telling you. Like a prepared candidate, it's definitely um, the best candidate, because we're looking to measure the level of motivation that we have, right? And the level of motivation towards the role and the organization. This is something important here. Like I know that like when we're looking for a job, we start applying and applying and applying to several job postings. And when we get a callback, we need to be sure that we remember the one that we apply for and we know exactly what we're applying for. Okay. So when you finish the process and like you didn't get selected, it's good for you to ask for feedback, you know, but be aware that not all organizations will give you feedback, you know, and they're not like willing to sometimes provide that feedback, but in some cases they will. So have an open mind to receive these opinions, and always ask what aspects can be improved. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with the candidate. It's simply that like we choose the one that it's more closely to the role. So that's why sometimes the feedback is not going to be so useful, but it's good for you to ask. Okay. Now let's go to the 24 questions that we have.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably we can try to answer the general questions.
If you can help me, Christina, like since you already read them all, like can you like give me
Let's see, what do
a
we
hand?
have here? Well, what about this with the first one? Do we really need certification to get a job? Think
Uh,
that's
I'm confused with that one. Like,
I believe like the question is related that here in Canada, certifications are really important. And I think that Nisha means like if she needs to have a specific certification to get a job. You are the
well,
expert,
yeah,
but yeah.
yeah. I guess like it depends, right, on the
Uh-huh.
role description. For example, if I'm gonna put my example, there are some roles that require for me to be a certified human resources leader, like, and that's a specific certification.
Hmm.
If that role is requesting that certifications, yeah, you need to comply with what they're requesting. Sometimes you need to be like careful with how the role posting, like how the job posting is written. Sometimes it says preferable or an asset. When they say that, is that you can apply, but it will be an asset to have it, but it's not required. Okay.
Hmm.
So that, I guess that will make the difference if you need a certification or not.
Sure.
Most of the job postings require work experience of at least 2, 3 years, even at the entry level. So without having the Canadian work experience of that level, but possessing the education qualification of that level, can we fill the job role? Yeah, for sure. You need to give it a try. Like this is something that like every entry level professional, like or recently graduated professional is dealing with. That's why it's so important when you're studying, and if you are, like, I don't know if all of you are graduates or not, like, but when you are studying, it's so important to get into the volunteer side and like make yourself visible in all the opportunities that the Lambton College is offering, right? Like, so if you already graduated, like a valuable sort of experience, it's being a volunteer. That's completely valid, and that will help you show that you have earned some experience somehow. But definitely, when you don't have experience, try to tailor your resume to your educational qualifications and how during your academic process you created a project or your thesis or things that you can show where you have practical value, you know.
Good. We have a couple of questions related to Times New Roman font. Is it considered in ATS?
I think maybe you can stick with Arial, like Calibri,
Perfect.
Tahoma, the ones that I told you, Verdana, those, because Times New Roman has that like curly ends that I don't know if that will affect the ATS system. So stick with the other ones.
Good. How many of keywords do we need to optimize the chances of success with the ATS?
I don't get that.
I get
Like,
like Eduardo
how many
saying
of
like
keyword?
the number
Okay.
of matches. Like for instance, we were seeing the example supply chain. How many times? I think we will need to repeat the word. So ATS.
You don't have to repeat it as many. As long as you have it, it's good, right? Like, because it's gonna create a match. Because he's gonna what it's gonna do, it's like if the key role has as a keyword customer service, like supply management. So that's why you need to pay attention to the repetitiveness um, in the role description. If you notice, like, for example, that's why I made you read the role description, like in the example. We noticed that customer service was in a lot, shipments were everywhere, logistic was everywhere. So try to use those words. But like for me to tell you, use 10 of these words or
Mm-hmm.
5 times, like it's really hard, you know, as long as you have the matches, like that will increase your chances of having the match.
Good. You have answered this one already. How many pages do you suggest for a resume? The resume should be 1 or 2 pages
Yeah,
according to your
max.
experience.
Mhm.
This one is a real good one. Can we use graphics and colors when applying for creative fields like graphic design, where creativity is the most important thing?
That's a tricky one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I what I will recommend is like, first of all, pay attention to the organization. Like, if you're applying for small organizations, I don't think they can afford an ATS system. Like, the ATS are not cheap, and they don't have, like, usually ATS are for organizations that are frequently hiring, like positions that are really common in the labor market, right? Like entry level roles, like office administration, like clerical, like, you know, or operators or things like that, where there's a volume. But when it is like organizations that seems to be small, um, perhaps you can afford to have those graphics and colors. But like my recommendation will be use a simple um, resume. But like if you have the chance to attach your portfolio as a graphic designer, do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that will be my recommendation. Based on the analysis that you do about the company, and like if you see that like perhaps they have this ATS system, um, they seem to be small, like I can risk to send this resume this way. But like another approach could be like attaching your portfolio in your cover letter, for example. Like if you have the option to do it, that's the opportunity to be creative, right?
Mm-hmm. Which format should I submit the resume, PDF or Word? I think sometimes they actually say what they prefer, right?
Yeah, it can be both. Like
Hmm.
Word, it's a good way too. Like an ATS system like recognize Word and PDF as well. As long as you don't include the columns in, so both are okay.
Hmm. Do we open the message by saying dear hiring manager or recruiter? I believe this one is for the cover letter.
Um, if you have the chance to find the name of the person that you are directing the cover letter, that will be better. But if
Hmm.
you don't have it, dear hiring manager, it's fine. Or dear recruiter. That's always an option. That's okay.
All right, good. I don't know whether um, you have another question that you would like to answer.
Let me check. Like, it's a personal portfolio really mandate. Does it help my profile stand out? No, I talked about the portfolio when we're talking about graphic designer jobs or for example when you're talking about like roles that involved writing or journalism, things like that. Like usually the same recruitment process will ask for your portfolio, you know,
Hmm.
but it's not required if you're applying for other type of jobs. Hi, I recently graduate student and without experience. I got so many rejection from application and interview. What should I do? So, like now you have these tools and tips that will help you build a better resume. Perhaps it can be the resume. Um, Analyzing, like, keep in mind that like analyzing the job posting, it's key. Like, I recommend not applying to everything that as long as it doesn't match your work experience because it will create frustration and deception and like you're gonna feel like, oh my god, this is awful. Sometimes I receive, for example, resumes that are not at all a fit for the role that I'm recruiting for, and that person is going to feel rejected because I didn't call her, but it's because you didn't read the job posting properly. So the first thing is like apply to the things that you feel you have a chance. For sure, there's got to be something there for you. And the other recommendation is for you to start like doing networking, LinkedIn, connecting with people through LinkedIn, like trying to build your network here. It's hard. I've been trying to do so and it's
Hmm.
complicated. But like LinkedIn, it's a great tool for you to start connecting. A lot of people, it's open to have coffee chats and help you try to find mentorship programs at Lambton College that will help you gain connections with your industry, right? Like you're not alone, and that's why, for example, this center is here, right? Like to make you to help you make those connections.
Yeah, actually, someone was saying, I read a comment there that they would like to reach you through LinkedIn.
Sure, like you can look for me. I forgot to include my LinkedIn user, but it's easy. You can find me. It's under my name, Juliana Aponte, so you can find me.
I will tap Juliana's name in the chat
Okay.
section. You mentioned also that we shouldn't use columns and we should make it like keep our resumes and cover letter as clean as possible. But here we have a question. Can we include columns in the skills section only?
No,
No
avoid the
columns.
columns.
All right.
Avoid the columns. Yeah. The columns like made the ATS system like dizzy. You know, because it like they will go like finding matches. And when you include those are breaks in the matching process.
Mm-hmm.
It is important to write online the dates duration, write a line. No, but like it's just a matter of consistency and order and organization in your resume. However you do the order, it's fine, you know, as long as you keep it clean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Will you recommend applying to a small, medium, or large organization? Probably that will depend.
I recommend
All right.
applying to whatever fits your work experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my recommendation. Like I definitely don't recommend like applying to every single job out there, just the ones that fit your because it's going to create frustration, and it's going to make you feel worse because you're not going to receive a call or so. Take the time to analyze the role, the job
Mhm.
posting.
What is the font size for resume? Is it the same from, I believe we should keep
11,
this 11. All right.
11, like 12, not too small, not too small. Like
All right.
I know sometimes we try to fit a lot, like, and we make it super small, but like 11, it's a good font. 11, 12.
And try to keep the resume and the cover letter in the same formatting, right?
Yes,
Do not
yes.
change that. All
Yeah.
right. Let's just look for a couple more questions and then we will finish our webinar. We extended a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
No, it was great. We still have graduates here. So
Yeah, like if you want, like Christina, you can take a look at like, and perhaps you can in Zoom, you can save all these questions and we can answer them. Like, I can take the time to answer, like in writing those questions, so everybody has an answer. That's okay.
that would be nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, we can try that. And anyways, tomorrow we will have the same webinar tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. So you can join us again. We would love to see you there. You can, if we unfortunately couldn't answer your question now, probably you can join us tomorrow and we will try our best to answer tomorrow. I have shared as well our social media accounts so that you can follow us. And again, that's the way we can keep connected and let's build this community, Lambton College community. I believe we should be finishing by now, but I want to take a moment to thank you, Juliana, because you made really clear the points. How important is it to make to connect the cover letter, the resume with the job posting, even though we may have all the requirements, the skills that the job posting is looking for, if we're not able to sell ourselves in a sense, especially in the cover letter, we probably will get the job. So let's take the time, the necessary time to type our resumes and cover letter and tailor it so that we can actually be a good fit for the organization. Do not forget to search about the organization and write a few sentences about the organization as well, so they know that you are prepared and you have done your homework. So
Hmm.
Juliana, thank you very much. It's been a great webinar. And again, you're all invited to join us tomorrow. And I hope to see you in our future events. Actually, next month we will have more immigration events and I hope to see you there again. So
Okay,
thank you
thank you,
very much.
everybody. Thank you,
Thanks, everyone.
Christina.
Have a great evening. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.